Yes, if you are paying on the lower end of rent and your water just stops running, water stops running in some places, so you have to go and catch the water outside of the building where the water runs from the tap and bring it inside to flush and to wash and to stay clean. And yeah, this is something I never thought I would do, but it's something I'm not a stranger to, because when I lived in Jamaica, my grandma lived in the countryside. This is where my dad was raised, so he would always bring us there, and it was a humbling experience because sometimes her water would stop running and we would go in the backyard and wash off there. And sometimes her lights would go off and we would light candles and just talk, in the candlelight, and just have family time. And these were actually my happiest moments. So this may turn some people off, but for me it's something that I welcome humbling experiences. So in experiences where it forces me to, I feel like humbling experiences strengthens your character, because you're not a complainer. You're not going to complain when the smallest thing goes wrong, and you're more welcome to adversity. So I like these things, but for some people it's like, oh hell no, I would rather stay here and have the running water always. And I mean, we all have the choice of sacrificing something for another, and it's all, whatever you sacrifice is based on what's worth it to you. So me not having running water sometimes is not a big deal for me, because there's so many other benefits to living in Africa. So that to me is something I don't mind losing. But for someone else, it's like, if it's not for you, like, I'm letting you know, sometimes you may have to go and run your water. So just prepare your mind mentally for that. Hey you guys, so today I'm going to be talking about 10 things that I now do in Africa that I never did in America. Yeah, let's get into the video. So number one thing that I do now that I never did in America is hand wash clothes. I've never, my mother hand washed our clothes in America. So I got to see how the process was done, but she never showed us how to do it because I was like 7 years old at the time. So I had an idea of how it's done, but I never seen anyone do it, because in America we just use the washer and dryer, you know how it is. But here is like, to hire someone to wash your clothes, it's really inexpensive for people coming from the West, because here in Ghana they charge about $4, and that's actually pretty pricey, but $4 for like 2-3 loads of clothes. Like, I have a really big bag that I have, and I just give it over to the girl and she washes it for like a week of dirty clothes, like $4, and she folds it up and brings it back to me. So it's actually pretty inexpensive, but I've learned to really budget my money, so sometimes I don't mind doing it myself. It's very inexpensive. Like I said, you can spend like anywhere between $15 to $20 per month, maybe $10 a month if you get someone that's will work with you, and you can get your clothes washed each month for that price. For me, it's therapeutic for me to wash my clothes. I have no problem with that. I actually came to Africa to be like more independent, more self-sufficient, without a machine, without a system, without any of that. Like, my overall goal coming here initially was to live off grid eventually, and get used to being like more independent. And I don't know, that's just what my spirit is pushing me to do. So when I learn how to do like these simple things, these simple skills, it may seem like something small, but what if one day we were forced to wash our clothes? Like, it will really come in handy to have these skills, you know. And it's humbling. Like I said, for me it's therapeutic, so I don't mind. But just keep in mind, like, if you're trying to budget, or if you can't find someone that'll give you a good price, sometimes you have to hand wash your clothes, unless you stay in a facility where they offer washer and dryer. But I have not seen anything like that, unless you're paying like up to $1,000 a month or something like that. Otherwise, you know, it's not worth it. We're in a hot climate. You don't need a dryer, especially, but and you don't need a washer, because to pay someone to do it, you know, is really inexpensive. In Tanzania, I think I paid like $2 for, you know, a whole week of clothes just for them to wash it. So yeah, it's not worth it to pay for that stuff in Africa. But a washer, I guess if you can afford it, it'll come in handy. But to get a dryer is just a waste of money, because you can the sun in some areas it is worth it. Let me tell you, in Nairobi, actually it is worth it to get a dryer in Nairobi, because it did get cold and wet a lot of nights. So if you can afford that in a city like that, cool. But if you're coming to Ghana or Tanzania where it's hot, it's just not worth it, unless you just have expendable income where you can just get a dryer for the rainy season, because sometimes it rains here and it delays the drying of the clothes. So if it's something like you absolutely need, cool, but you don't need it here. So another thing that I'm doing now that I've never done in America is live in a hot climate without air conditioner. Like, I never thought I would ever do that. If someone asked me could I do it, I would tell you no. But just because, like, I had no idea that the type of fan that I have in my apartment existed. So it goes from 1 speed to 5 speed. Now in the hot season, I do consider getting an air conditioner, but during the rainy season, like right now, it's pretty cool in here, and sometimes I just keep it on 3 speed in this weather. But in the summer, and whether it's on 5 speed, 4 speed, 3 speed, it can still be kind of hot, but it's bearable, you know, it's bearable. So I tell myself, like, do I want to spend a couple $100s to get air conditioner and then spend the money to get it installed, or can I just, you know, handle a few months of heat, and then the rest of the months, like, the fan actually comes in handy a lot. So and when I sleep, no matter how hot it was during the day, it's pretty cool. So like I said, it's bearable. But this is something that I never would have done in America, because air conditioners are in like most apartments. Most apartments come with an air conditioner. But just know, if you are on a budget and you don't want to pay a certain amount of money each month for your apartment, you may not have an air conditioner. I think if you pay like $150 and above per month in Ghana, you may come with it, the place may come with the air conditioner. But if you paying on the lower side of things, like, it may not come with one. And it sounds like hell on earth, but I promise you, y'all, it's not bad. Like, you see me right now, I'm not sweating. The air is on, the fan is on 4 speed, so it's pretty cool. So okay, the next one is possibly homeschool my child. Like, in America, I never would have homeschooled my child, just because there are so many schools available in America that I can choose from, even if it's just a babysitter coming by and watching her. Like, there's so many more options for schooling there. But here, like, they do have what you consider a corporal punishment system, and I heard it was banned, it was stopped a few years ago. So corporal punishment is where the teachers are allowed to discipline the kids using physical force. So they may use a cane. I hear they use a cane here in Ghana. In Jamaica, where I was born, they use a ruler. So when I was 7 years old, 6 years old, if I would misbehave in school, they would hit me on the palm with the ruler. I don't know what they did for the older kids, but it is called a corporal punishment system. So I was extremely disciplined coming to America, but as you know, America is a lot different when that's considered abuse in America. So if you don't want your kids to possibly be hit as a form of discipline, I consider do not. I would recommend you do your research before you enroll your child in a school anywhere in Africa, because and then ask your questions, like ask them, do they have this type of system there? And even then, you know, check the background of the school, talk to the other teachers, the other parents, and you know, just see what's really going on, because you just never know. And I don't want my daughter to be in that type of environment. So when I was threatened, I pulled her butt right on out of there, because I don't have time to sit here and fight demons. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't watch the last video, somebody threatened to slap her. So, you know, I for those who kept telling me like, oh, you should have confronted her right there. Like, to confront someone in their property, on their property with their subordinates, and she says something crazy like this. I'm a thinker now. I don't just react. Like, I can't do that. I have too much to lose. I'm in a foreign country with my daughter as a single mother, so I have to think first before I make certain moves. If someone is saying something crazy as this, like, I'm sure she's gonna deny saying it once I confront her. So me saying that isn't me getting the justice that I feel that I deserve. So the point of me making the last video of me being threatened was to post that video on the school's review page, so that the parents who take their kids there, especially the international parents, know what they're signing up for with this lady. As far as the school, like I said, I don't know what the other staff is capable of, but this lady is crazy. So that was my way of getting justice, you know, to basically expose your ways to other people. So the fact that people kept telling me like, oh, you should have just confronted her right there on the spot. What do you, this is not Basketball Wives. I'm not about to just go slap the lady, run up on her. Like, I'm a grown woman. I handle things accordingly. I've dealt with crazy people my entire life, and I know how to handle them. So, you know, I did what I felt was going to be justice in my daughter's eyes, you know, and I fought back. You know, people like that, they care about reputation and things. You know, when you are denying your actions that you blatantly did, you're more worried about your reputation. So let me confront you in that way, and not confront you impulsively because my emotions are on high. No, F that. You know, so anyways, yeah, so now I'm looking into possibly homeschooling Kari. And yeah, I mean, it's something that's common amongst expat parents, like they're homeschooling. I had so many people reach out to me after that video and give me like plenty of homeschooling programs that are available for expats, so expat kids. So I'm gonna be signing her up for one of those. And I found out the gym that I'll be going to, I can bring her along with me to the gym. So I was just trying to like picture this new life for us, because I wanted her to socialize with the local kids, but I'm gonna have to find creative ways for her to do that, even if it's just her going outside for an hour or something. So yeah, that's my future. Like, that's the outlook on my future, and it's something that I never thought I would do. But if you are bringing kids here, just know they have a different punishment system in some of the schools, and if you are considering taking them to an international school, this type of punishment may not be in those type of schools, but you still have to ask, and those schools charge a lot more. So, you know, right now that's not in my budget to spend thousands per year for my toddler to go to school. So right now I'm looking at homeschooling, and it's something I never thought I would do. But all right, number 4 is having to catch water when no water is running. Yes, if you are paying on the lower end of rent and your water just stops running, water stops running in some places, so you have to go and catch the water outside of the building where the water runs from the tap and bring it inside to flush and to wash and to stay clean. And yeah, this is something I never thought I would do, but it's something I'm not a stranger to, because when I lived in Jamaica, my grandma lived in the countryside. This is where my dad was raised, so he would always bring us there, and it was a humbling experience because sometimes her water would stop running and we would go in the backyard and wash off there. And sometimes her lights would go off and we would light candles and just talk, you know, in the candlelight and just have family time. And these were actually my happiest moments. So this may turn some people off, but for me it's something that I welcome. I welcome humbling experiences. So in experiences where it forces me to, I feel like humbling experiences strengthens your character, you know, because you're not a complainer. You know, you're not going to complain when the smallest thing goes wrong, and you're more welcome to adversity. So I like these things, but for some people it's like, oh hell no, I would rather stay here and have the running water always. And I mean, we all have the choice of sacrificing something for another, and it's all, whatever you sacrifice is based on what's worth it to you. So me not having running water sometimes is not a big deal for me, because there's so many other benefits to living in Africa. So that to me is something I don't mind losing. But for someone else, you know, it's like, if it's not for you, like, I'm letting you know, sometimes you may have to go and run your water. So just prepare your mind mentally for that. All right. Number 5, to be part of a community. Now, I'm not going to say that America doesn't have communities, because I'm sure in some place people feel like a sense of a sense of community. But me living in New York for as long as I did, I never had like a community. If anything, we will always cuss each other out. And well, I don't cuss people out, but people will cuss me out for the smallest things, like just a simple misunderstanding. We would just have a back and forth of words to one another, and it was a lot more hostility. But here, I'm not going to say things are perfect, because sometimes I do sense that people are talking about me sometimes, because I'm different to them, so that's understandable. But yeah, and sometimes, you know, the community is not perfect, but if you do need help with something, people will help you, be more willing to help you. Where in America, and especially in New York, they'd be like, girl, bye, like, I'm not helping you with any of that. So here, you know, it's like I'm a sense of a community, and that's something I never thought that I would have. And it does depend on where you are in Africa if you're going to receive this or not, because in certain parts of Tanzania or different places, I didn't feel like a part of a community. But it depends on where you go, you know, and where you feel celebrated. So that depends on location. But here in Ghana, I do feel like more of a sense of community, and maybe it's because I'm in a village town and not in the city. Because in the city, like in Nairobi, when I visited Nairobi, I felt like most people were more concerned about self, because they have to pay those bills, and the bills are higher. So, you know, just consider location when you're moving to a place. Do you want to stay in a city? Do you want to be in a village? Because when you're in like a suburban type of town, it's more likely that you're going to have more of a community. But overall in Africa, just being a melanated individual, you're going to feel that love from your own people, just because, and concern, just because you're the same color. How I feel here is how a white person feels in America, like the part of a majority, you know, and just knowing that everyone here kind of, you know, has my back to a certain extent. Not everyone's gonna love you, not everyone's gonna understand you, but if something happens to you, you know, I'm sure most people will be willing to help just because they see you as a brother and sister. And nobody can most times tell that I'm not Ghanaian. But like I said, go where you're celebrated, go where people welcome you, where you feel part of a community. And yeah, but overall, like in Africa, like I said, just being a melanated person, you're gonna feel that sense of community. Stop hitting my breath. Okay, number 6. Something that I never did in America that you guys, if you have kids, please, this is for you. Riding without a car seat, my daughter. Like, I never thought. Yeah, when we came here, she had a 5-in-1 gray coat car seat. It was supposed to last till she's like 5 years old. And I had to leave it behind in Tanzania because I realized like it's just not a common thing. I'm telling you, it will hold you back most of the time. The only city that I visited where, and honestly this is based on your discernment, I don't want to lead anybody astray, because most of the towns that I've lived in, there's a lots of traffic, so there's no time that the cars are actually going that fast. So it's not like, and then it's also not like America. They don't legalize car seats here. It's not illegal to go without one. So let me make that clear, like in America, because in America there's a rush hour system. So your cars are rushing all the time. So of course the kids should be, you know, wearing car seats should be legalized. And in Africa, certain parts, I think eventually, you know, things should be legalized too, because you know, I'm sure there are accidents that happen where kids are hurt, but like that's why I say use your discernment as a parent, because for me, when I was in Nairobi, I felt like we couldn't stay there long because the traffic was more high speed and I did not have a car seat. So in metropolitan cities like Nairobi or wherever other African country that has a metropolitan city, I would suggest getting a car seat, because the traffic is similar to that in New York or whatever, because it's a huge city. There's lots of people migrating there. They're moving, their rent is higher, they gotta pay rent, they gotta, you know, they're rushing more. So just use your discernment as a parent on if you should bring a car seat or not. I suggest bringing one, especially if you're going to Nairobi. But if you're in places like Tanzania, in, you know, in the like a suburban area or anything like that, to me it's just not necessary, and it actually holds you back because I don't have a car, so we're jumping in and out of cars, so then nobody has time for you to be just adjusting that car seat every time you jump into a car. So the next thing that I never did in America that I'm doing here is riding a motorcycle, and with no helmet at that. Like, I'm not the one driving it, of course, but as a passenger, like, I've always wanted to ride on a motorcycle in America, but I just never had the opportunity, because unless you buy one or someone you know has one and they invite you, you don't really get that opportunity much. But here, everybody's riding motorcycles. It's like a common mode of transportation, so I'm always on the back of a motorcycle, especially in Kampala. I loved Kampala because of that. Like, they have hills and you're just going down the hill, and when you're going down the hill, your hair is just blowing in the wind and you just feel like a movie star. Like, they love me in Kampala, so people will stare at me while I'm on the motorcycle and I'll just be like having my movie star moment. I loved it. I love that breeze, and just to see the view, you know, to see the view differently than if you were in a car. So I just love that. But in Ghana, I haven't been on a motorcycle yet. Here, they actually, people suggested that I do not get on the motorcycle here. So so far I followed their advice, but I have met some guys that seem to be pretty responsible drivers. So eventually I'll get on one, but I haven't. It just doesn't, the opportunity doesn't present itself as much here as it did in Kampala. But everybody has a motorcycle that I've seen in Africa, so you'll always have the opportunity if you would like. But what I liked about Kampala is they had the safe BOTA system, so it just feels a lot safer. They'll actually offer you a helmet if you want one. So yeah, and like I said, people ride on them with their kids sometimes. So I seen an Arab guy on the motorcycle with 4 of his kids, 2 in the front, 2 in the older kids in the back, and 2 little kids in the front, and he was just in the middle riding it. So you know, it happens amongst the locals and everything. Like, this is how they normally ride around with infants and everything. So it is normal here. Yeah, so this is something I never thought I would do, but I'm doing it here, and it's okay. I don't think it's dangerous at all. So that is pretty common thing. It's a common thing here. So don't be scared, y'all. Get on one when you get here. It's actually very convenient. The most convenient form of transportation, because you can just go around that traffic that I've always seen in every country. So that's my favorite mode of transportation, and that's the one thing I miss about, one of the things that I miss about Kampala. So yeah. All right, so number 8 is live a soft life. Like, I'm living a much softer life here. Let me just say, like, you can afford so many, the services here are so affordable. So if you really need like help around the home, like washing your clothes, someone coming cleaning your house or whatever, like, it really is affordable. I haven't paid for anyone to do that because I just don't trust a lot of people, but it was common in Tanzania and Kampala, in different places, for people to come and just clean your house, wash your clothes, and it is very, very affordable amongst the expats. So just know, like, in America, especially in New York, like, for me to wash clothes, I would spend like $80 every 2 weeks for drop-off service, because I didn't have the time to wash my clothes, and I also didn't have a washer and dryer, so I had to drop it off. But here I'm paying like $8, you know, every 2 weeks to have them do it. So that's the difference. You know, so just know, like, you know, you can just relax here. Like, I'm not saying you could just completely lay back and act as if it's a vacation, because, you know, you still have to work. I still have, you know, passive streams of income that I have to fulfill to be able to afford living here. But just know, like, you know, you don't have to work as hard. It's not like a rat race as it is in America. So you can really just relax. I feel like it's adding time to my life just being here, you know, because I can just go and eat my mangoes every day. You know, I have time to go and pick up my own food and eat it at home. You know, I can go and get the healthiest food. That's what I consider a soft life, is, you know, having an extra hand of help in different areas, and then still, you know, living a healthy lifestyle and being able to relax, and your mental health improving. Like, me being a single mother, it is not an easy task. I'm not a victim. I honestly feel like in my life right now is strengthening my character, and that's why God gave me the role that I'm playing right now. I don't know if that's a permanent thing for me, but right now it's strengthening my character. And what I can say is, if I was in America, I think my interactions with my daughter would be a lot different, you know, because as a mother, you have to pour into your children. So how are you supposed to pour into your children if you're not pouring into yourself? So here I feel as if my cup can be filled a lot easier, and I can get help with certain things, so I'm not overloaded, and I'm not, you know, giving my daughters this masculine energy, you know, like we all play to our masculine and feminine energy, but here I'm able to be more feminine because I'm not stressed out as much as I was in America. So just keep that in mind, you know, especially for my women, even my men, you know, if you're trying to improve your mental health, this is the place to be. Even if it's not Africa, just living in a healthy, natural environment, it just improves your well-being overall. So, and the next thing that I'm doing here that I never did in America is actually make connections. Now, I haven't made any girlfriends in Ghana actually. I have had the chance to, but as far as like guys trying to approach me and stuff like that, like even women trying to be my friends, like people actually want your number to call you and keep in touch with you, you know. They actually are looking to make a connection. But in America, I feel like connections drift away so fast. People ghost one another, and the reason for this is because it's too much stimulation in America. We have too many distractions from, you know, the meaningful things in our lives. So here, I don't feel like people are that invested in social media as much as we are in the West. So here, like, people actually call one another, you know, and it's not a creepy thing to call one another here as it is in America. And, you know, it's just like, yeah, you can, you know, people reach out, they keep in touch. When, you know, in America, I feel like connections last like 2 weeks and then the time is up for that connection and it's on to the next. So I just stayed to myself in America. Now, you know, you're not going to connect with everyone because some people just won't understand your ways, your culture, your lifestyle. But the people that you do connect with, for the most part, will keep in touch with you. They'll call you, they'll text you. Yeah, and I like that. I like that because I feel like I'm back in the 2000s in America. Like, I'm born in 87, so I was born between the old school and the new school generation. So I was here when there were landlines and people were actually calling one another to connect. And I feel like here in Africa, like, people are kind of like in that era before the social media era took off. So I like that era the most, and that's what I like about Africa. Like, people really connect here. So the last one that I'm able to do, the last thing that I'm able to do here in Africa that I wasn't able to do in America is save money and capitalize. Like, y'all, the business ideas that are coming to me while I'm here is like limitless. Yeah. So you all know about like the currency exchange, and you know, you're able to capitalize because of that. But if you're not bringing any if you don't have several streams of income, or if you don't if you're not capitalizing, saving money is a lot harder. So I have been strategizing to capitalize recently, and yeah, like, this is something that I wasn't able to do in America because I feel like in America I'm not able to save as much money. Not because it's not a possibility, it's just because I'm more pressed to be like a consumer in America, and here, like, I don't care about impressing. I don't have to buy name brand, you know, and honestly, I'm not the type of person to like even try to impress anyone because I am not a materialistic person. Like, my fashion sense is very simple. I find one item and I'll wear that over and over and over again, even though I may have a whole, you know, closet of clothes. I'm not really like, I'm not a consumer. You know, ever since I started selling clothes 10 years ago, I've never really been a consumer. Maybe in my college years I was a consumer, but now I'm not. But you still don't want to go to the gym in some no-name shoes. You know, more than likely I'm gonna buy Nikes. And it's not because I'm trying to impress, it's just because this is what America has convinced us is the best pair of shoes. And here I'm still buying Nikes, but the Nikes that I buy here are secondhand. They're fairly new. They're much cheaper. So I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on Nikes. And can I do the same thing in America? Possibly, but I know it'll cost a lot more, even for secondhand shoes. So, you know, things just cost a lot more in there. So you're not able to save as much if you are buying these items. And yeah, like bills and everything catches up with you. So here, you know, bills are way more affordable when you're coming from America. But like I said, if you're not capitalizing, they will catch up on you. But here, like, there's so many loopholes, like where you can start a business easily. You know, you can sell something to the local. You can do an Airbnb. You could do whatever, you know, if you have a little money saved. So that's what I'm walking into right now. And yeah, it's a blessing, you know, because I'm not living I'm content with my life right now. Like, what I mean by content, I'm grateful. Like, I'm not living my dream life in Africa right now, but I know eventually I will. So yeah, when they moved to America in 1996, this was when the Olympics was going on. So not as many doors were closed as they are now in America. And I personally even feel like the market is never oversaturated. Like, if you're a creative person, like, there's so much that you can do in America to make money. But because things are so competitive, it's easier to capitalize here if you take that money that you make in America and bring it here. So this is the point that I'm trying to make. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that point yet where I can really just fully capitalize, but I have some things up my sleeve. And talking about things up my sleeve, you guys, I just started a shop called Nubia Kingdom, where I'm selling turmeric scrubs, shea butter right here from Ghana, home decor, anything you guys can think of that's related to Africa, I'm selling it. And the purpose of me selling these items is to bring Africa to your home, and, you know, just bring a taste of Africa right there to your hometown. So if you guys like any of these items, make sure you purchase them. Shipping takes approximately 5 to 14 days. It is coming from United States, not Africa, not China. It's coming from the United States. So 5 to 14 days on shipping. Eventually things will improve as far as the shipping time, but yes, right now it is 5 to 14 shipping days, and free shipping on any orders over $75. So you guys make sure you check out that website and purchase something to support your girl here in Ghana. And yeah, my list of things that I have done in Africa that I did not do in America is done, and I hope you guys liked watching my content. If you want more content like this, make sure you guys hit that notification bell and leave any suggestions that you have below, and subscribe, comment, like, do whatever you guys want to do, and I'll talk to you soon. One love. Bye.